Hi folks, Pickerel here. Today I wanted to talk to you about mid-layer insulation, particularly mid-layer insulation on the cheap. What most of us use for our mid-layer insulation is down, high loft down. It's light and it compresses down into very small packages like a baseball. Problem is that kind of down costs money, a lot of money, usually well over $100. Where I go shopping for my mid-layer insulation is a thrift store. And what do I find there? I find myself a cashmere sweater vest. Price, $1.99. So if we're going to use wool or cashmere in this case as our mid-base layer, we need to know how it stacks up against other mid-base layers that you might wear, say fleece or down or even merino wool. Well, one thing to know about cashmere comes from a goat that lives in the Central Asian highlands. It is about 10 to 15% warmer than merino wool and infinitely softer than merino wool. How warm is it compared to, say, down? Well, I have a puffy jacket, like most thru-hikers do, and I would say that this is as warm as any mid-layer 800 fill vest that you might have. But this only cost $1.99. $1.99. Another good thing about wool to keep in mind, especially for AT thru-hikers, is when wool gets wet, it still keeps you warm. Down, and we all know what happens to down when it gets wet, and we all know what happens to fleece when it gets wet. You freeze. That's what I love about wool. The cool thing, this vest, this nice sweater vest for $1.99, again, $1.99, is it only weighs 4.2 ounces. That is in the ballpark for most high loft down vests, mid-layer, vests that you would buy and spend $100 on. So it's in the same ballpark for price. It's in the same, it's not in the same ballpark for price. It's in the same ballpark for warmth. It's in the same ballpark for weight. Difference is, keeps you warm when it's wet, and it only cost me $1.99. The one downside to wool versus down is going to be more compressible. Any down vest that you get that's high loft, you'll probably be able to squeeze it down into the size of a baseball. For the old cashmere vest here, I can squeeze it down into something about the size of a softball. So a softball is still a pretty small squeeze for the amount of warmth that you get. So for those of you who are looking to go backpacking on the cheap, I suggest go shopping at your local thrift store, find yourself some cashmere. It is super warm, super soft, keeps you warm when it's wet, and it only costs a couple of bucks. Thanks. This has been the Pickerel.